What do you get when you combine Tim Schaefer, Mark Hamill, and a minefield full of rabbits? Full Throttle is LucasArts' 1995 point-and-click adventure. It's the future, and Corley Motors is the last motorcycle manufacturer in the country. Malcolm Corley is on his way to a shareholders meeting when he runs into a biker gang called the Polecats. Malcolm asks the Polecats to escort him to the meeting, but on the way, Malcolm's partner, Ripburger, murders him in a plan to take over the company and switch them from motorcycles to minivans. And he pins the murder on the Polecats. You play as Ben, the leader of the Polecats, who sets out to clear his gang's name and bring Ripburger to justice by pointing and clicking on everything you can see. Though this game actually doesn't have that much pointing and clicking. It's got a lot of the elements of a point and click adventure. You walk around looking, feeling, and tasting everything that you can, looking for random items to use in the one place they're useful to solve a puzzle.
I'm not putting my lips on that.
You also walk up to every random person you see and work your way through their dialogue tree, but there's also quite a bit of action in this point-and-click adventure. There's a whole demolition derby section you have to play through, and there's the mine road, which basically turns Full Throttle into road rash. You need certain items from certain enemies, and you're gonna take them over their cold, lifeless bodies. But there is a certain puzzle element to the mine road because you need to use certain items to beat certain enemies, and the game doesn't really give you any hints about what you're supposed to use when, so it's all just one big game of trial and error. And since the enemy orders are random, and it's all trial and error, sometimes you'll have to work your way through the same enemies over and over, trying to get back to the one enemy you actually need to fight. And then if you guess the wrong weapon, you have to do it all over again. And I played the remastered edition, which upgraded the graphics and the sound, but did nothing to fix the dodgy controls. There's one enemy you have to hit with a 2x4, and half the time the game just decided that it didn't hit. But the puzzles that are in this game are actually pretty good. A lot of LucasArts games can function on moon logic, where the only way to figure out how to solve a puzzle is by taking the exact kind of drugs the developers were taking when they thought it up. But this game actually gives you clues on how to solve puzzles if you're paying attention. Early on in the game, Malcolm tells Ben the nickname for his daughter.
I used to call her the diaper dynamo.
And that actually gets you out of a problem later in the game. One of the characters tell you that the cave fish, the rival gang, they wear these goggles and they navigate by seeing the yellow reflectors on the road. Then later on, when you're in their hideout trying to steal a ramp, you knock one of the reflectors off the road, and that's a clue for how to get away from them when they're chasing you later on. But while a lot of the puzzles are improved by giving you these little hints throughout the game, the controls actually make some a lot harder. There's one puzzle where you have to kick a very specific spot on a wall, and just trying to click on that right spot and getting the game to register that you clicked on the right spot is an exercise in frustration. There's also a later puzzle where you have to click buttons on a screen, and half the time my clicks just wouldn't register. But where some of the controls were lacking, the writing picks up the slack. Like I said, Tim Schaefer was in on this game. The Psychonauts guy, the Day of the Tentacle guy, Grim Fandango. He gives Ben this dry, sarcastic humor that really carries the character.
Very austere, no drawers. You know what might look better on your nose?
What?
The bar. Seem to have a lot of time on your hands. Not to mention nicks and scratches.
But even though the writing's good, like the puzzles, there's just not that much of it. The whole game feels kind of empty. There aren't that many NPCs to talk to, not that many dialogue trees to work through. And that emptiness is kind of Full Throttle's biggest problem. There's just not much game here. I've finished the whole thing in about 2 hours. A few puzzles, a few conversations, but the action scenes take up a large chunk of this game. I think I spent most of this game on Mine Road just trying to figure out which weapon I was supposed to use on which enemy. It just feels like the whole game could have been bulked out with more puzzles, more conversation, more world building, and less action. Now, none of this makes Full Throttle a bad game. I really liked it. In fact, I wish there was more of it. And none of these problems hurt its sales. Full Throttle was the first LucasArts game to sell over 1 million copies. It's got great writing, what little there is, a memorable aesthetic, fun if kind of unbalanced gameplay and some dodgy controls, a short runtime, and some bugs that never got worked out. But I got it on sale on Steam for like $3. So if you got a couple hours to kill and some pocket change lying around, You could do a lot worse in Full Throttle. See you next time.